G'day guys, welcome back to the channel with Project VT Commodore. In this episode I'm going to attack those intake manifold gaskets. It's something I've been putting off for a few weeks, so plus I've had other things going on, so we'll attack that in this episode. I don't have any coolant going into the oil or anything like that, so I just thought it was a great opportunity to change them while we're here working on it. So no doubt down the track somewhere they're going to fail eventually. Very common problem, as we know, with Ecotec. They were like a plastic rubber sort of a gasket from the factory. Very common failure. So I just thought, bugger it, while we're here, like I said, let's just change them. So yeah, like I said, got no fluids cross-contaminating or anything like that. I do have a bit of condensation coming out the exhaust, like a little bit too much. Like, yes, that's relatively normal for cars to do so, to have that condensation, particularly on colder days. But for the last probably nearly 2 months, I don't think we've had a day underneath 20 degrees. So yeah, a little bit too much condensation. So maybe something funny is going on there, I'm not sure. I'm just bloody hoping it's not a head gasket. So if anything, I would say it's probably related to the intake manifold gaskets. So I know that can be a symptom of them failing, is a little bit of excessive moisture coming out the exhaust. So anyway, this episode we're going to get them changed. Yeah, I've been putting it off for a few weeks, but let's attack it. So also, while I remember, I've had a couple of guys message me on Facebook, Instagram, a few comments, things like that about the colour, telling me that it's Botanica mica. It's not Botanica mica, it is Amazon mica, Amazon blue, paint code B176. Was a colour that came out obviously on the VTs and Series 3 VS Utes, particularly the Olympic editions. So not Botanica mica like the VS's had. That was in the VS SS's and Utes and a few of the other models. So Amazon mica, Holden called it. So yeah, anyway. All right guys, let's get stuck into these manifold gaskets. Rightio guys, so first up we want to remove the fuel pump relay. So according to our little cover there with the diagram, it is the third one in from the left hand side. So that'll be this one right here. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Now we'll try and turn it over. So by doing that, we're just going to relieve any fuel pressure that's in the fuel lines. Rightio, so next up, bottom radiator hose. Just undo that clamp. You can see I've slid that clamp back. And simply pop the bottom radiator hose off and drain whatever coolant is in the radiator. Rightio, next up, going to remove the fuel line. So you've got the top one, middle and bottom. Once you get them off, like, you want to label them, just so, and that goes with everything, just so you know where everything goes when it comes time to reassemble it. So you can use coloured zip ties, coloured tape, whatever works for you to identify top, bottom, middle, whatever works for you. So that bottom one, we'll just simply squeeze in the sides, push forward and back. It's the bottom one. And now we've got our little fuel line removal tool here. If I can find the camera. That just slides over the line and pops the fitting. So push forward and back. There you go, that removes that. So that's just basically relieving the the line off that fitting there. And then we'll do the top one, a little bit more difficult, that one. If we can get in there, same deal. Push the tool in, push forward and back. Easy as that. So yeah, you're just releasing that fitting there off the fuel line basically, and that tool just sits in there and pushes the clips back basically. Easy as that. So I'll label these now, so just so I know top and bottom. So you can use the paint marker, but playing around with fuel, paint marker is probably going to wear off. So there you go guys, just to identify what hose goes where, I've just used two different coloured tapes there. So the blue being the that middle one there, so a bit of blue tape on that line, blue tape on the hose. You probably can't see it, but that line just there's got the green tape on it, and green tape on this hose, and the bottom one, well, smaller fitting, we know that goes on there. So, but do whatever works for you. Take photos, draw a mud map, whatever. You can use, like I said, coloured cable ties as well. That's another cool little tip as well. Righto, I'm going to remove that belt now. So with the 15mm spanner, pop it on the idler there in the undo position, push down. There we go. Belt's good to come off. Now I'm just going to remove the top radiator hose and the two heater hoses as well. Just get them out the way. Alright, we'll pop them two heater hoses off the side there. Just pop them clamps. It's the top one. You've been on there a while, and the bottom one. Next up, we will remove the alternator. So a little bracket on the back there, two 10mm bolts. Two bolts on the front, one up top here, one underneath. They're both 13mm. So those two front bolts there are being removed, so the alternator's unbolted. So now you just got to undo that nut there for the earth, and there's also just that plug there. Remove that and you can take the alternator out. Alrighty, we're getting there. Next up, we'll remove these injectors. So you just push that little wire clip in. You can see there, push that in. Give that a bit of a wiggle. Off she comes, and go along and do them all like that. Just push in that little wire there, that little clip, and that'll just release it off the injector. Also, there's just those little cable tie sort of clips as well, just on top of the manifold there. So all you gotta do, just give them a little bit of a wriggle, boom, and it pulls out as easy as that. And that way you can pull everything out the way, get a bit of clearance. So if you follow that wiring harness down, you see there's a little earth down the front here. So I've just loosened off that nut. So we'll just undo that nut and then we'll remove that little earth out the way. Might pay to put like a little bit of tape or something on that one. Just so it doesn't get lost when you go to reassemble. Like, you know, you tuck that out the way somewhere, it could get forgotten. Okay, so you can see that little earth there. I've just put a little bit of blue tape on it because, like, when you go to put it all back, it's just going to be so easy to see that. Whereas if that's tucked out of the way with no tape on it, you could easily forget about that little earth. So a little bit of tape there. When you go to put it back together, so much easier to find. So next up, we're going to remove all this, get all this out of the way, all this here. So undo this bolt here, and there's one underneath. I don't know if you can quite see just there. So they are 11/16, them two. Then we'll pop this out the way, get us some clearance. So we just want to get that pipe out of the way now. So I've just prized it out a little bit. You've got to be very, very careful with them though. They are prone to breaking when you're removing them. So ideally you want a crowbar. Rookie mistake, I left mine at home. So I've just got a big screwdriver. Just slowly work it out. Okay, got that pipe out the way. So next up, undo these two nuts, one there and one there. 15 mil. Crack them. Oh, fuck. A bit tight. So those two 15 mil nuts have been removed. So now we're just going to wiggle this. Hopefully it just pops out with no drama, and that'll give us some bit more clearance. So same sort of thing, be pretty gentle with it. If not, crowbar, wish I had one today. So all that's out the way now, as you can see, much better clearance. I've also undone the spark plug leads from the driver's side and just pulled them across out the way here, as you can see. So it gives you much better clearance. Some guys undo this coil pack and move it out the way. I'm not going to do that. I think it'll be fine where it is. Next up, I'll remove the air box and get that out of the way. So to remove the air box out the way, just undo that clamp there, guys. Pop all your clips, obviously, all the way around. Just undo this plug here. Just lift that little grey tab up. Pop him out the way. I've already popped those clips off. And there is one plug just underneath here. Pop that clip up. Pop him out. And we can get rid of that. Gives us clearance. Now to attack this passenger side. So I've just gone ahead and I've already removed those, the wiring harness there off the injectors. So now it's time to remove all the throttle body. Now there's a few different plugs in that there. You really can't stuff it up. So unplug that one there. A few bolts behind the backing plate there. And that should be able to remove the throttle body out the way to get its clearance, and then we can unbolt that manifold. So there's just 3 bolts holding this plate on here to the throttle body. 3 nuts, sorry. And I don't know if we can quite see. That's our throttle cable. Which one? This one here, and cruise control. So you just remove them off of here. Forgot to film it. You can see those little knobs there. That's what the cable's attached to. So there's 3 nuts located behind there, 10 mil, and that removes that plate. So they can just sort of sit out the side there. So I've undone the 2 plugs as well. When you go to reassemble, like, you can't stuff it up. They're 2 different size plugs there. Now there's a little nut there to undo, so we can slide this out the way. And there's a nut here on the throttle body, and on the opposite corner underneath here somewhere there's another one. We'll get that popped off. And also, it might be a little bit hard to see, but we can see this outer hose here. Just remove that, undo that little clamp there. And where I'm pointing, you can see another hose there where my finger's wiggling. That runs underneath the manifold, so pop that off as well. So just removing this throttle body now. It's like I was saying, it's just 2 nuts.
opposite each other. That bottom one's off. And this one here, they're 1/2 inch, if anyone's got any interest. 1/2 inch nuts. Alright, that should slide off. Well, that's interesting, there's no gasket there. Normally there's a gasket. Nothing there either. Oh, right. I'll have to chase up one of them. There's normally a gasket there. Anyway. Alright, pop that out of the way. There's one little nut that has been the most difficult the whole entire job thus far. Come on over, have a look, I'll show you. Zoom out a bit. That little fucker right there, a little 10mm nut. So, and that'll basically slide this out the way. Then we can crack into those manifold bolts. But that, I'm starting to round it off, as you can see. So leave it with me, I'll see how we go. Well, I got it. I just had a breather for a second, came back to it. I actually got the ratchet spanner onto it, 10mm ratchet spanner. First crack, bang. Might have been fucking shitty flogged out tools I was using, that happens. So I'll remove that. That'll remove this little housing here, you can see. That'll pop out the way. And then, as I said, we can begin the procedure of removing the intake manifold. There we go, that just pops out like so. Bending out the way, up there. Just put that nut back in there. Can't find the hole, as usual. Oh, there she goes. Now, I'm just looking at that coil pack. I can actually understand why guys unbolt it and just sort of slide it out the way. It also helps sort of get that wiring harness and all that out the way. So I'll see how I go. I'll start cracking them manifold bolts and see how we're looking. Righto, everything is out of the way. So that wasn't too bad a job. Now just looking at the front of the manifold there, I would not be surprised if we've got some sort of an oil leak. Like, have a look at that. So they'd be the valley gaskets, I'd say. I'm tipping that they'd be pretty well knackered, but we're going to find out soon. So to remove the intake manifold, we have 6 bolts. Size is 3/8. So 1, 2, and as we move along, they're in single form. 1 there, 1 just in front of my finger, and another 2 at the back, identical to what's at the front. So I'll have to use a combination of a ratchet and just spanners because it is pretty tight there. Now I don't know if you can really see that on camera, but that's the first manifold bolt I pulled out, and that oil looks milky to me. It's funny, on the dipstick, it looks relatively clean. So something's going on there. So I'm glad that I'm changing these manifold gaskets because this is the exact reason we're doing it. Yeah, strange one. As I said, water looks pretty good and the oil looked pretty good. I couldn't really see any signs of it being milky, but as you can see on that bolt there, it looks milky. So that is a classic sign that those intake manifold gaskets are shagged. So I'm damn glad I've decided to do that. Also, there's just those 3 vacuum hoses on the back of the manifold as well. You got the big one up here, that small one, and the one beside that. Rightio, so we're ready to remove this intake manifold. Now, I'm pretty sure everything is out of the way. There is one of these, I don't know what you call it, just like a bit of a cable, sort of a clip here. That's just an example of it. There's one of them, don't know if you can quite sort of see, up underneath there where I'm sort of pointing. All you got to basically do is just flick that little tab up and then that'll pull away. So there's one of them underneath there attached to the manifold. Yeah, I think that's everything undone. So I just used a combination of ratchet spanners, sockets, just open-enders just to get those bolts out, a little bit fiddly. 3/8 and a 10mm I used, so that's the little bolts there. I'll bag them up. Rightio, let's try and get her off. All right, here goes nothing. Fuck, where are we hooked up there? That's all right. Well, righto, manifold is off. All I can say is I'm glad I've decided to do this. So as you can see here, there's a little bit of milky residue. So obviously there's a bit of water leaking out of those coolant passages. That one there, that feels real flat around there. So you can see that milky residue there. Hence why that bolt I was showing you earlier was a bit milky. There are these two center bolts. So yeah, have a look at that. Nice milky sort of chocolate sort of a finish. So we definitely been getting a little bit of water in that oil. And those valley gaskets are pretty well shagged as well. So if you come around and have a look, is the manifold tipped upside down. That's the valley gasket there. Have a look at the crease in it. That's how it was sitting. So earlier, I don't know if you remember, I pointed out about how all the oil and that was just sitting on top of the water pump and that here. So that'd be why. You can even see the little imprint here where the gasket was sort of creased for God knows how long. So we've just had a slight oil leak. And over time, dirt and shit's just stuck to that water pump there. And then the oil just sticks to that. So, yeah, really, really good move deciding to change these manifold and valley gaskets. So if we have a look at the manifold, obviously it's upside down at the moment. I don't know, but that looks like a little bit of a coolant sort of a washout there to me, for sure. There's more of that milky sort of oily residue there. The other side, same thing again. That looks like a little bit of a coolant sort of a washout there, and more milky goodness. So I'll take that manifold with me. I'm going to give that a real good clean up. Give that a real good clean. Clean those, whip those gaskets off, and give those faces a really good, clean and a Scotch Brite and a bit of a blade and all that. So yeah, they're definitely the original gaskets for sure. No doubt about it. There you go, guys. Well, I think that might wrap up day one. It's bloody getting hot in the shed. I'm sweating like a bag of cats that are greyhound meat at the moment. So it's nearly beer o'clock as well. I've got a couple of little parts I've got to order anyway. Just before I say goodbye for the day again, guys, I'll just show you. I'm just going to whip these gaskets off. Pull that off. Have a look. That's the valley gasket, the orange one. Have a look at that. It's completely shagged that. Look at the split in it. Split there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm glad I've decided to do this. And it's a wonder we didn't have coolant pissing out the back that I noticed, to be honest. Have a look at that. Completely shagged. So I'll get all that whipped off. So guys, that is part one done. So yeah, obviously I'll do it over 2 videos. There's just a couple of O-rings on the
The heater pipes there, the inlet and the outlet, they were pretty shagged. I don't want to go putting them back in, having to change them down the track. So I'll swing past Repco on the way home, see if they've got some O-rings there, and then we'll be good to put everything back together. So in the meantime, I'm just going to clean that manifold up, give it a good clean, pressure wash sort of on top where all the oil is where I can, and obviously give them heads a good scrape, a good clean with some oven cleaner, brake cleaner, something like that, bit of Scotch-Brite. So anyway, I hope that's helped out someone else out there who's got to change their manifold gaskets on their Ecotec. It's a pretty straightforward sort of a job. I've tried to go into detail where I could. So those gaskets on that were a lot worse than what I thought. As I said earlier on, there was no real signs on the dipstick in the oil that there was any water in the oil until I was starting to take them manifold bolts out. I could see that milky sort of residue and thinking, okay, well it does look like we've got water seeping through. And then pulling the manifold off, you can see that milky sort of residue on the heads as well. So look, not really a surprise either. Like, it's a very, very common thing, as we know, with these Ecotecs. So anyway, we'll get it all cleaned up and get these parts together and get it all back. Give it a coolant flush, obviously change your oil on it. We should be good to go. Anyway, beer o'clock. Weekend's looking pretty good weather-wise, so it'll be rude not to get the SS or the old Ute out, I reckon. Another pub run sounds good. All right, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, we'll see you later.